The Tez Walker situation at North Carolina has been unfolding for weeks and really for several weeks. And I've explained it to you. That's the kid that once upon a time played at the lower level, and then he transferred to Kent State because at the lower level their season got canceled because of COVID. So he never played a down. Now he transferred the following spring, but I don't care about that because he never played a down of football there. So he transfers to Kent State, becomes all MAC, then transfers to North Carolina. If you're keeping track at home, yes, friends, that adds up to 2 transfers. You only get 1 transfer penalty free, but here's the thing. Anyone with a lick of common sense understands there are extenuating circumstances in the room with Tez Walker's specific situation. He's also claiming ailing family member, mental health. The reason I sound so dismissive of that is because I think he should have gotten his waiver accepted even without those in the room. But that all led today to his waiver being denied. The NCAA took their sweet time, which I'll talk about in a second, and they brought down the gavel on the table and they said, denied. Why? We don't have to tell you, but it's denied. Now, I'm fortunate that the audience on this show includes a bunch of compliance people. There are tons of people in football, period, who watch the show, but I got a fair amount of compliance folks who watch the show. So they've been pretty consistently in my DMs. I text back and forth with a number of them. And they've been keeping me up to speed because while the public has been outraged about this, because all they see is a kid getting screwed by the NCAA, and I'm right there with you, the folks in the compliance side of things have been telling me, now, Josh, hold on a second. Hold on. The NCAA is only enforcing the rules that coaches and administrators ask them to enforce. And they're right. They are right about that. So how could I agree with both parties, you may ask? How could I agree that the NCAA is enforcing rules that coaches and administrators beg them to create and enforce, but also think the NCAA is screwing the kid? Well, it's pretty simple. One of those is from chapter 3 of the book that we're reading right now. The other is from chapter 2. Both of them think they're the only chapter in the book. So the crowd that's outraged right now could not hear another explanation. All they think is Tez Walker got screwed. The folks on the other side, halfway defending the NCAA right now, they think that this is just emotion over here on this side of the fence, and those folks are all bent out of shape. But if they could just take a second and remove the emotion from the room and insert some logic, they would know the NCAA is not the villain here. The kid transferred not once but twice. The NCAA is merely enforcing rules that coaches, including Mac Brown in the past, begged them to create and enforce. So how's that only chapter 2? Well, you're forgetting about chapter 1. Really, both of you are forgetting about chapter 1. Chapter 1 was when that group in Indianapolis at NCAA headquarters dropped this entire thing in your lap with no advanced warning. You forget about that? I'm talking about the ones defending this today. Did you forget about that? Did you forget about when the NCAA said, hey, transfer portal's here, baby, and you have had no time to get ready for this, and we really don't know how it's going to work, but here you go. Remember that? It's kind of like I was trying to come up with a good metaphor, and I really couldn't, so this is the best I could do. Let's say tomorrow you're out at a picnic. Let's say, you know what? It's tailgate season. Let's say tomorrow you're out at a tailgate, and there's a beehive up in the tree, but it's okay. Minding their own business, you're minding your own business, and some dude just waltzes up with a baseball bat and whacks that beehive. And you got bees everywhere. And so someone's got a bottle of Raid, and you're just yelling, spray it, we're getting stung. So you just raid the entire tailgate. And then all the food's ruined. And so people start complaining after a little while. Yeah, the bees are dead, but the food's ruined. And so people's stomachs start growling, and the kids start crying, and you're like, hey, we need to go get some more food. Hey, buddy, hey, can we borrow some food? And you look over, and it's the dude who had the baseball bat who happens to be in the tailgate next to you, and he says, nope, sorry, remember, sure, it's on you. You're the one who asked me to spray that Raid. And then there's this third person over here who's just an innocent bystander saying, wait a second, yeah, they asked you to spray the Raid. That's only because you're the idiot who hit the hornet's nest with a baseball bat in the first place. The NCAA is the one who hit the hornet's nest. The NCAA is the reason that the coaches got all bent out of shape and said, you guys got to put some rules in and enforce them. And now the NCAA, after they created the mess, comes in the back door and screws a kid who's trying to transfer, and they're using the technical letter of the law and hiding behind that as their defense. And unbeknownst to people who don't know any better, it's their fault all along. So even if you're right about the NCAA saying, well, hey, you asked us to enforce the rules. We asked you to enforce the rules because you had to create the rule because you created the mess. That's chapter 1 of the book. That's what happened before chapter 2 and chapter 3. And by the way, did it occur to anyone else out there how long this whole thing took? Did it occur to anyone else? You could cancel Spectrum cable in the state of Florida right now quicker than we get resolution from the NCAA. I'm talking to Cooper Pategna earlier today, and he was kind of laying out what actually takes so long about this. And I listened to it, and I really don't care. I care about him. I don't care about the technical reasoning. I don't care that the NCAA doesn't acknowledge one sport over the other and it just goes in a queue. And if track and field's first in line, then track and field at William and Mary is going to be heard before wide receiver at North Carolina in our highest revenue producing sport by 1,000,000 miles that has immediate deadlines in place. We got a season approaching. They don't care. They don't care because they don't have to care. If you've ever been to the DMV and watched the collective attitude of 95% of the employees there, you get how the NCAA operates. If you've been through TSA lately, not all of you, I got some friends in TSA, but a lot of TSA employees, you get it. There's no competition in their field. They can do whatever they want. Nothing's happening to them. And it's the same way with the NCAA. You never see them. You're nameless, faceless people who know that no matter how bad they suck at their job today, and no matter how thoroughly they screw student athletes today, they're going to be right back there in their same parking spot tomorrow morning, and that's that. They operate with like diplomatic immunity. They operate with a giant safety net under them. Do they really care about kids? No. Do they really care about teams? No. Do they care about fans? Certainly not. They just get to exist. And because someone gave them the power and authority, they've got it. I've seen a lot of people today asking, what would happen if North Carolina just played this kid anyway? And the answer is, well, they can't do that. And then the response is, well, who says? Well, the NCAA says. Yeah, but what if they do it anyway? It's like enforcing a new law in your community. The law only gets enforced if you've got a governing body able to enforce it. If you don't, then you might as well not have a law. And in NCAA circles, you tell me Tez Walker can't play. Okay, well, I play him anyway. Like, what's the next move? No one really knows that answer. I don't claim to either. I don't know what the domino effect would be. I just know there are a lot of coaches who have looked at this and called Mack Brown disingenuous. They've called North Carolina's approach posturing, and they've thought of it more as theater because they've thought behind the scenes. North Carolina knew the rule, and North Carolina went and got that kid anyway, and they knew it was his second transfer, and they knew what the rules were, and they thought they were just going to bully the NCAA. And my thing is, you are right. That's exactly what they thought. Let's just remember why the rule was even put in place to begin with. Let's even remember why folks like Mack Brown lobbied for rules like that to be put in place to begin with. It's not because Mack Brown just all of a sudden decided he didn't like transfers. It's because the new transfer portal era and rules therein got dropped in folks' laps by the NCAA. You create the mess. How about you clean it up for once? I don't know. So this really bothered me. It bothered me for several weeks. It bothered me also the glacial pace it moved at. There is no way that should take that long. Just like investigations, there's no way they should take that long, but yet they do.